wild and wonderful world that is the LPL. As we've just been saying, LGD, they have faced pretty much all of the top teams. Their back half of the split looks a lot easier. OMG on the other side, they are very much splitting the difference, but they are definitely one of those blue shell teams that can upset anyone. So LGD, this is not an easy game for them. They have got the hard bit out of the way, but the job's not done yet.
That is every AD carry ban. That's 6 straight AD carry bans.
That is absolutely absurd. So funny. Okay, right. Well, the thing is, Abel and PP God showed that they could lock in something like the Smolder Braum, and they even took a game from JDG with that earlier on. Thing is, with all of the lane-dominant AD carries gone, besides Lucian, but then again, the Nautilus is locked in, unlikely to see that. I think that Draven is gone as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god, everything's gone. Samira is the one thing left.
Well, yeah, and you've got maybe Zeri, might be another option if you're feeling like that. The Zyra Khan comes in, and I think that does make sense. Something that Shouty put a lot of time into down in the LDL. You could Samira here if you're feeling very bold. I will note, obviously, that OMG are leaving that a little later, but they've actually decided they're going to go for the Kai'Sa here, which is up and available, does work with the Nautilus. Okay. We're right back to Season 8, it's Kai'Sa versus Aya.
And also the other thing too, so Shafeng, I believe, is 7-2 on Viego in this split. He has a losing record with every other single jungler. This is the jungler that has allowed OMG a great amount of prominence, because OMG, they don't like to play difficult compositions, but it's so easy to throw a Nautilus hook and then follow up with Kai'Sa Viego, get a single reset, then just start snowballing team fights. So LGD, they need to now lock in something which can shut down the Viego and Kai'Sa combo. The TF, it can help you have some extra macro presence and start snowballing through top lane matchups as well. It's also a takeaway from Angel in the mid lane on the other side. LGD, I think they need to hyper prioritize something like a Cassante and Sejuani that can be that first target and say, I won't die easily, and start the reset combination.
Also does double up here as something of a flex between the solo lanes, which is potentially quite valuable when you don't know what's going topside, and obviously you want to try and get as much value out of your potential counter picks as you can here, because it might mean you can counter pick both mid and top if you're happy with it, depending on how things go. But into the second phase of bans, both AD carries pick means we can look elsewhere in the role selection to ban out. I'm trying to think of a way of a phrase that, because the AD carries got banned, so you can look elsewhere in a team to ban. That was awkwardly phrased.
But where in terms of where they're looking, see the LGD, I think they're trying to ban out something which can really harass a front line. And of course, don't typically like to address chat while we're doing the middle of our flow as well with Monty. Thank you so much for the raid. This is live. Later we'll have LGD, rather FPX versus JDG. Oh, yes. That will be an absolute banger. This one here, though, can absolutely have that potential to start really, really exploding. And I really think now that Birdall needs to get himself a good front line, so LGD don't just fall apart to the reset combo that OMG have won a lot of games with. Yes. When they have won, it's always been about this Viego reset.
And you called it out earlier, and a lot of it for you is just simplicity of execution. You can rely on hands and easier modes and lines of communication to make things happen. The Rel coming in does help a little bit, because if you overdive as the Viego and Kai'Sa, you just set yourself up for prime Magnet Storm angles. Debating an Udyr blind, which has fallen off a little bit, but we'll wait and see, because a couple of these picks of ones you've been chatting about that we wouldn't mind seeing on LGD.
So, well, this is the thing. This is a takeaway now. You already have OMG. They have the core of their composition. You have exactly what you want. The Nautilus is going to pick someone off, and then your carries are going to start flying through from the AD carry in the jungle. Now, the thing is, if you lock in Cassante now, you know that you lose against Udyr in the early game. I like this from OMG. It's getting ahead of that top lane last pick and saying, you want frontline, Udyr will start beating you in priority in the early game. That means that they will have a pushing top lane. If they have this Talia as well, they can roam to the play very quickly too alongside that. Of course, this Twisted Fate can flex between mid and top lane. Can beat out the Udyr at points, but the Udyr can go for something like the Ghost Ignite to make that lane interesting.
Damned if you do, Udyr if you don't. And now we see what the last pick would be. They will lock in the Ahri. And everyone around the world, I am very sorry, but I'm going to have to designate roughly 2 minutes right now for Alex to elucidate on what this means.
Okay, so. For those of you who are not familiar with me, and I've shouted about enough at this point, I have 1.5 million points on Ahri, and I've been a really big advocate for Ahri and pro play, building the right way for the last few years. It's been a bit painful watching Ahri players not really capitalize on their snowball potential. If you look at LGD's team, they haven't locked in a front line. The Rel, I'm sorry, it doesn't count. No. This champion will be paper compared to the other team. And what that means in this game is that you are going to be in a very snowbally situation. I think that this Ahri and the TF combo, especially with something like the Rakan flying through the combo as well, can very much snowball through the, the level 6 to 1 item mark and start really pulling ahead of the game. So I'm going to be tracking that build, hope to see if there's an early Dark Seal into Ahri's best item, the Medjais. We'll see if they can afford to go towards that one. And see if Haichao, who has been a big playmaker on the other side of the rift for LGD, can be a big snowball threat again.
Yeah. And I look at these comps, I think, look, OMG is probably slightly easier to execute, slightly tankier frontline, slightly more single target burst. On the other side, though, Ahri, Xayah, incredibly slippery, and your counter engage is really good with Rel, with Ahri, with TF. If someone dives too far, your ability to catch someone out of position is still really, really good. And for all the OMGs, I think, got the easier buttons to press, their targets are probably harder to access.
Something to that, of course. I mean, on the other side, Kaiser and Viego also very good at disengaging their own way too. So actually, I'm loving this. This feels like one of those matchups where it feels like a lot of the teams have like-for-like tools, or at least in the same ballpark. They're not going to do the exactly same thing. And that means that we get to see execution be king. And when you have two teams who have struggled, they have flipped, but they have very much persevered, I think this kind of game can be very, very explosive. And we can kind of see the mechanical showcase that LPL loves to bring.
Oh, yes, we can. Onto the Rift we go. Nothing super spicy thus far at the level 1. We'll note OMG did have their mid jungle just hovering around the same part there to see whether there might be something. And as we note it, they are going to start a slightly later invade into the blue side of LGD.
Do have the Nautilus, who is very strong at level 1. Big topic of conversation I'd love to have from the LPL compared to the LCK. LCK, we still see a lot of the double range support kind of meta. We see a lot more Nami and the Milio, and we've even seen some of the Lulu. If anyone saw T1G Gen G, we saw the Lucian Nami versus the Aphelios Lulu. Having the range support makes things a little bit different, right? You can't ward as easily. You can't kind of face check as easily, and you don't typically have as strong level 1s. When you go back towards the melee supports with stuff like Braum and Nautilus, even Alistar, you have much more early game presence in regards to like making those big plays. OMG are going to start with a bot side invade. They're going to make sure that Xiaofeng gets himself more pressure on this bot side. Importantly here, it means that the Xayah Rakan can't start with W start and start to potentially look for a 2v2 pressure against the Kai'Sa Nautilus. Of course, there's a lane which has been very famous in the past. It feels like Xayah Rakan should be winning on paper, but if you don't get to abuse the level 1 because you're afraid of a jungler coming into your lane, then it maybe changes the equation.
It's a slight difference here in terms of the experience in the bot lane. I think PP God and Abel have both made names for themselves at some points. I mean, that early level 1 hook coming on through, but Xiaoya in particular, Jinzhao are relatively new to the league. Xiaoya came up from LDL last year, was on IG Young only from June, but he managed to get to the LDL Grand Finals, got to ASCI, that's the kind of international challenger teams tournament between LCK and LPL, but of course the LDL and the LCK Challenger League is the two separate names, got to the semi-finals there. Looked really good, frankly. Xayah in particular, one of his most dominant champions. Yes, you're into a guy like Abel, of course, was on OMG last year and was popping off occasionally on the Nymaera, but now has this potential option to really turn up in a series that does matter a lot.
See that Meteor trying to use Xiaofeng's early invades to then buy some time to go towards the top side. Doesn't manage to get anything for it though, so Meteor going to be stuck pretty far behind in farm. That means that Xiaofeng on the Viego, which he has had a lot of success on in this split, is going to be a bit ahead of the curve. I do want to say though Xiaoya is very new on the other side. Jinzhao has been playing since 2015. This guy's been around for a while. So even though, so this is the thing, right? When we're talking about this veterancy, yes, you have Xiaoya that's new, but Jinzhao has been playing for a very long time in some kind of capacity. He's been he's been around the block a little bit in terms of LPL. But you're absolutely right. You know, PP God was on the V5 roster, which really kind of made its name in a lot of ways. Well, that was Photo Control for a bit, but then PP God was there for. That was one of the splits where you kind of felt like, hey, this was where things could start kind of popping off. And of course, Abel was one of the 3 genius AD carries. Now, he was part of that generation of upcoming AD carries that thought we would kind of change the landscape of the LPL. And of course, Jiameng, who is Elk now, he was one of them. And yeah, you look at all of this kind of class, and Abel was the one that couldn't quite make it in that regard. So we'll have to see. This is one of those splits, particularly in a team like this for OMG, that Abel might be able to kind of claim a bit more of that presence, you know, and kind of say, well, I have to be the carry on this team. Watch what I can do.
I think especially because last year, right, they were playing second fiddle just playstyle wise, right? Because you had Shanji and Creep, which meant you were playing top side in a meta that was largely about bot lane for every other team, but they were playing Sejuani, Yone, Jax, you know, very different experience. Maybe with all the junglers down here, it might be about the bot lane, which imagine saying that about OMG last year.
Look at the jungle level disadvantage though. Because Meteor couldn't get a return quadrant after Xiaofeng took the entire bot side. Xiaofeng is an entire quadrant up. Meteor hasn't even gotten, well, he's got himself bot scuttle. That's the one thing. That's the one thing. So like, I was about to say, you know, he hasn't even got himself double scuttle, which he hasn't. He's got one scuttle there, and now Xiaofeng's going to get himself a very good first back. Gonna have to talk about first backs as well, as you know, you see, Hai Chao has disappointed me for the last time. Couple of updates in terms of Ahri builds. Because of the Q AP ratio buffs to Ahri, you don't need dematerializers to get backline minion clear very early into the game. You don't need that anymore. You've got an extra 10% AP ratio. Now, what that means is that if you do get a Dark Seal and an Amp Tome, you're still going to be clearing backline. And as we can see here, Hai Chao has gone towards the DMATs in the triple tonic. Big thing about triple tonic is that it doesn't give you something like access to the second rank of your ultimate early, even though it gives you the skill point. That's kind of the lock-up point. It won't, because Kale happened, basically. Yes. It won't let you level up your ultimate like that. I think everyone with Kleptomancy PTSD can remember that one. But the thing is, when we're looking at a snowbally game like this, when you have a Viego on one side and you have, like, you know, the Ahri TF combo on the other, I love Dark Seal as a first item. I think you should buy it in any game anyway, because Ahri is such a snowbally champion. And now what I'm going to have to see now, I'm going to absolutely, you know, my mind is going to be completely shredded from the first game of the day if we have an Ahri that doesn't build the Dark Seal, gets involved with kills, and doesn't get the extra bonus from me. That is like my pet peeve of current Pro League of Legends.
It is something that just really winds out
a lot.
Slight bit of housekeeping here as well. Viego, with knowing that Meteor was going to have to full clear again, pinged that out as the bot lane happened, knew that with the level discrepancy, had the option to get the reset, go towards the grubs, claim those for free. So OMG do have those, and kind of using the early quadrant invade to get something from it.
One thing which is interesting too is because of the resets and the nature of the supports when they do reset, PP God is happy to walk into River and do some vision control. Jinzhao doing the same right now. But because you're on something like this Nautilus, you're very happy to go on this kind of warding mission. You've basically ended up being a bit of a scouting force for Xiaofeng and Angel to get back onto the map. Angel now running the spellbook has heal and has the ultimate, so if there is an aggressive play coming in from LGD, can wall over to the play, bring in a heal to the affair as well. I'm really waiting for mid-jungle support to come into the first big play now the ultimates have been unlocked.
They have got the ability to begin really turning up bot side, particularly for the likes of Angel with the Weaver's Wall. We have seen a lot of the very best Talias be very, very aggressive with those Weaver's Walls, really link up with the likes of...
When you talk about that, it just reminds me of we really need a music. We need particularly a Britpop Talia skin. Anyway, his Weaver's Wall. I think that'd be perfect. We can have like a country. What is it? Walker Texas Rengo. Is that the other one? Can have that as well. I feel like we're missing out on a lot of different music scenes. Just do them as a one-off. I think that would add a lot to the current culture of League of Legends. You can even have like. Just not to like harp on about the Shuriman culture, but we could have like a Shuriman band called Oasis, because it's in just the desert. That'd be great. That'd be wonderful. You could wait. How much of a copyright strike would they get for that if you had just the Shuriman band Oasis?
Quite a lot, I think. There's probably quite a few trademarks associated with that.
God. That'll be food for thought either way. We haven't really seen this early game really explode in the way that I wanted to, though. I feel like
that's very true.
Maybe adding into the fact that OMG, if they lose a series here, if LGD, if they lose a series, they're pretty much definitely out for LGD, but you can't afford to lose series like this. Meteor is off vision, though.
It does immediately get turned into a massive pin cushion as stones and hooks from the deep come dragging him down. First blood towards the Viego. Meteor's just not tanky, does not get to proc Aftershock, and now everyone turns up bot lane.
And that's a big mistake there for Meteor. He was on vision. Kind of flubbed a little bit. Oh, he's off vision. No, he's not. He's actually just stood in front of OMG's entire team. And you see that LGD, they kind of want to fight, but they don't know how to approach the fight. It's been kind of a hallmark of the LPL, mid and bottom table teams. They know that they want to fight. They just can't quite set it up in the way that they would like to. And now when you have the the jungle mid kind of combination from LGD not really firing on all cylinders very early on. That's a worry now for LGD.
Yes, it can be, as of course they do still have fairly good scaling. They do still have, of course, the ability to get these mid games on both sides and feel like they can play it. But when you've got tools to make picks happen, it does feel like getting edges before it has to come down to a kind of 50-50 flip feels pretty good.
You know what, I'm also pretty happy as well. While I can complain about no Dark Seal on the Ahri, Angel's picked one up, he's happy with it. Gets a single Dark Seal stack off of that as well. It's like my favorite minigame in League of Legends right now is just seeing how many players can do that. I think my favorite player of it right now is Knight, who actually just full blank buys Medjais before fights and says, yeah, we're winning this fight, I'll do it at 3 stacks, it's fine. And he gets himself way beyond the 10 mark threshold beyond that. So, particularly when we've got a game as explosive as this, when it finally comes to that hammer blow, I like it, Sam. Would you like me to talk about Dark Seal more? Would you enjoy that?
You know what? You've got
no, Sam,
maybe 30 seconds. Because before grubs become a realistic thing, so maybe you can talk about it.
I'm gonna reclaim my time and I'll save it for a later time at this point. Because we do see that Jinja and Meteor potentially making a play towards bot side. Jinja and Meteor, they will both be here, both with ultimates. PP God is just around the corner and spots them out. Are they still going for this dive? They have Cleanse, Flash, and ult from Abel.
Teleport. Not quite a teleport available on Angel, but they still go on in. That's still a lot of damage to Abel with them flashing ults away. He's going to do well. Haichao comes over the wall, but the feathers are good. Trying to get some damage back, and they do get it, but the knockups come on through and disengage the turret shot. They make it happen.
And it happened. Ooh, crossback coming through though. Birdall did end up popping the ultimate to ult back to lane. The dive continues in bot.
Flash away from the shattering strike from PP God means they don't get stunned up. We'll have to burn the additional flash. Plate goes the way of Sharia, but it is in the end a 1-for-1. There's a little bit of free time for Angel in the mid lane to shove out there as well.
Okay, so Angel still has his ult and teleport, not responding to anything right now. PP God doesn't have flash, so needs to be a little bit careful walking up here, but realistically, LGD need to reset themselves. Haichao with the gold from that bot kill will go straight towards first item Malignance. That's a fun item spike there. Did get a kill and didn't have the Dark Seal though, so I am again ruining the Dark Seal. That's part of my 30 seconds I'm going to reclaim. Again, we just need to track this snowballing because it's so important with this. It's half a meme molding, half is actually really important because both of these teams getting cross maps and getting gold onto important members is really going to change the face of this game. We've got gold going on, particularly Xiaofeng is so dangerous. The fact that it goes over to Xiaofeng here as well is a big problem. He's got to Sundered Sky early. He is a huge part of the reset combo. He can now look more aggressively towards that in the future.
The TF has run Ghost in part because you need to be able to match the Udyr Ghost, but Udyr will still be faster than you because he gets to just put his ram form on and start running at you even faster than you. And it was a clutch flash attack from Birdall to avoid the Spectral Maw, but it's still not going to get you out to safety. It's another kill onto the Viego, who's got a Sundered Sky early, he's got the free ass boots. Viego's very online and continuing to accelerate in the farm lead too.
It's one of my my favorite video game cutscenes of all time is the opening cutscene to Halo Combat Evolved. Where it's like, oh no, we've teleported into the middle of nowhere, but surely they can't be here first. But they've always been faster!
Oh, Birdall, you're a little bit too slow to read what's happening topside. Not a third kill to Xiaofeng, but it will be a third kill involvement. And they've got a lot of turret grubs to make these turret plates disappear in short order.
It's quite telling that Xiaofeng has the halo above his head after he claims the soul, as the Pillar of Birdall goes down for the second death of the game. It loses first turret entirely in topside. OMG, again, gold onto the Viego, a bit of a problem, especially with the turret gold going over.
Forward onto a game win for OMG if they can make it happen, that's for sure. Good start, good snowball, turret down, and that puts the Twisted Fate in a more precarious position. Just a huge amount of gold that's just immediately gone away from what had been a relatively stable lane. 2 swift deaths, 6 grubs, and a turret is gone.
And particularly for Birdall as a player as well, he has been so important for LGD. OMG, they've somewhat understood the assignment and said, well, you know, shut down this top laner who walked away with double MVPs from his last series he played. I think that's a really big bonus for them. Birdall's not going to be lane dominant in the same way. Now, Birdall does have ultimate. He can recall without threat of losing his turret because it's already gone. And now we'll have to see how these top laners can influence the next phase of play. Dragon is up. Cube could teleport to the play if he wanted.
Indeed, well, not for yet. And Birdall roaming down the mid lane does have the Destiny Gate available. Dragon started by LGD and the teleport begins to fly. Weaver's wall behind. Dragon secure, but a PP god going on. Enemy gets charmed up as Highchar goes back, trying to make something happen. So as Jinjar, as I get the name slightly messed up, because Magnet Storm afterwards does buy some time, but there's just no follow-up. And so the Magnet Storm means so little as Abel goes over the wall. The killer instinct is there. Xiaofang begins to hop around those swords, beginning to dive on forwards. It's Damocles over here, and that thread snaps, and OMG are the victors.
You give up the first kill, you have to run. You cannot stick around for the resets beyond that, and Xiaofang starts to really make his presence known. LGD with another very lazy attempt at a dragon. This is not the first time they've done this. The first dragon, Meteor, walked up and got blitzed, and now we see what's happening again as OMG. We haven't even talked about this, we talked so much about the dives. 6 grubs as well allows them to keep just hammering away at these towers. I don't think you can ever approach this dragon in the way that you'd like to. Yes, the dragon is secured by Meteor, but you put yourselves into the lion's den at this point. Abel dodges out on the engage from Jinjiao, and that means that he gets a good amount of damage onto him, and the Rakan doesn't get to have that big setup play for the Rel and the Ahri to start coming through, and Haichao has no access to the carries he wants either. OMG run over the fight.
And that's despite Rel finding a pretty solid Magnet Storm at the end of it. The problem was, Xiaoye got no uptime that fight. Starts by getting hooked, then ends up going to his ult pretty early. He gets to throw off, what, 1 auto towards that group of people? Imagine if he had to unleash all the feathers there. That might have been a different story. Doesn't happen, and suddenly OMG up over 4,000, well, near enough 4,000 gold, about to claim the Heralds. They are very, very happy in this game. 3-0 to Viego as well. This is a very scary jungler indeed.
And we already said right the way from draft, it's going to be a snowbally draft. You have Viego, Nautilus, Kai'Sa. They're starting fights, and if they get one, things really start to fall over beyond that point. Particularly, you know, we talked about the Viego part of this equation a lot, because a lot of LPL teams have struggled to play difficult compositions. The way that LPL is kind of putting their training wheels on is saying, right, let's just look for the first kill and use Viego to win team fights. That's an easy comp to play towards. But the thing is, even when you reset with the Viego here as well, if you have the Kai'Sa flying into the fight and being able to stack up their lethal tempo and their Rage Blade on the first target, the back end of the fight is going to be absolutely disgusting from Abel too, who on the whole has had a very inconsistent year, which is kind of just Abel. But when he's in a position like this and ahead of the game, Abel is so aggressive and able to transfer his lead that even with leads against another team, or with a different team with this lead, I would call this game closer than it is. But OMG being able to snowball like this, they are very confident at playing fast with the lead. So LGD, it's going to be very hard for them now to come back into this.
Oh, backs against the wall here. Of course, don't get me wrong, they've still got things like the Xayah, which do scale pretty well. Rel can find a monster engage. The Knight's out there to try and keep Xiaoye alive a little bit, but that's just easier said than done. The weight of gold, the weight of damage, very much in OMG's favour. They'll summon the Herald in mid lane. They want to try and shove for even more now and claim control of the map.
See that Birdall is forced to group here. He doesn't have his ultimate just yet. Herald slams into mid lane. 6 grubs, summons the Zerg rush, and the wall comes across. This could be fight on.
Meteor tries to go in, the Magnet Storm goes wide. Everyone reads the weather warning, and Meteor suddenly realizes maybe he should have renamed to Meteorologist, because he was not winning that one out, that's for sure. Another soul claimed, another body down. Tower stands for now, but another wave coming crashing and there's nothing to be done.
The weather report in mid lane is that it's a high pressure formation. It's cloudy with a chance of Viego.
Oh, he goes straight on in. Good feathers though, as Xiaoye begins to pop off. They've gone a little deep. That was always the risk. Can you deal with the Xayah? She can keep on fighting forwards. Birdall gets another gold card, and somehow, someway, LGD turn it all around. Xayah begins to fly south for the winter. Warmer weathers and more food to be found. Flash on forward, W running. Surely another couple feathers will do it! And Kim just cannot be brought down. A turtle stance keeps him alive.
Oh my gosh, well, we have known weather reports to occasionally be wrong, so even with us reading the fortunes and saying that OMG, they were going to run away with this game, it is a bit of an overstay in mid lane. And the resets can't quite be the determining factor. OMG, they walk away with less deaths than they really potentially should have been given, though, at that point. Felt like another couple could have gone the way of LGD. But still, it's a bit of a breaking of the pressure, the full court press from OMG.
Breather, briefly, 40 seconds until Infernal Drake, and you've got to feel everyone will be turning up on that. We've just lost nearly every summoner. Meteor has a flash, and Jinjiao hopefully is up in time. It'll be a little bit dependent on how long things go. Birdall kind of caught out in an awkward position. Has teammates coming, actually, so Q probably can't keep fighting here for free. Does manage to speed his way out of danger there, and I believe Might actually leave OMG with a little bit more free time to set up around what would be a second trade for either team.
Let's go back to this. Let's go back to this. So PP goes in. The thing about Nautilus is that you're great at setting up the first kill, whether it is you or them. In this case, it's actually both, but Xiaoya, as you rightfully called, absolutely shreds the first people into the fight with the feathers. So a bit of an overdive there from OMG, and it means that they can't quite face up and use the Viego resets. He's taken too much damage as well. It's a good chase down, but even then, they only really get themselves, you know, one of the lowest kind of outcomes to this scenario. It felt like they should have got a lot more kills.
That charm was a pixel off landing. That lands, Cube dies, but can't get close enough to keep up and keep him down. Of course, credit over to Junjao as well. He managed to get the Grand Entrance on Able as well as PP God to keep them locked down under the tower long enough for the feathers to really do their work. But now in a position where Dragon did go to OMG and LGD claim some of the gold back, but they're still down 3,000 gold. They're still in a tricky position. At least a lot of that gold went.
Okay, hang on. PP God's walking up for vision, but he is not safe. Hook lands.
Charm afterwards comes on through, but the Aftershock's there. Big 3-man knock-up thanks to the depth charge. Teleport's going to fly. Actually, I think people are going to pull away for now.
I was wondering if there was an outside angle of Abel flying into the fight, but when Xiaoya is not being forced to use his ult defensively in a bad position, I think that OMG are going to be a little bit more hesitant, especially after what happened under that outer turret in the mid lane. So OMG, a little bit punished for their warding mission around this Baron, which is just spawning now. Ward still in the topside jungle from LGD. They need to keep presence around here, but can they find a fight without giving up a kill that could lead to resets?
Birdle throws down a gold card. Angel coming on over, might be looking for a seismic shove, and as well stepped away from by Birdle. Back we go towards the team red buff. Meteor here. They are looking to fight this. Watch Cube on the flank as well.
He is. He has Ghost coming up in a few seconds. He doesn't have it quite now. LG, they're just trying to keep some ward coverage down, but there's a combo onto Meteor. Each of these moments very, very dangerous. Again, one kill leads to a reset. Might even lead to game if the Baron goes over afterwards.
That might have been the threat there. The red buff was secured by OMG, so invade successful. Managed to clear out a lot of the wards as well, and LGD, red side is now incredibly dark and difficult to walk into.
And that jungle very much is dark and full of terrors. LGD cannot afford to let OMG have an continued period of vision uptime on that Baron. It feels like if LGD give up Baron, that should basically be the game. LGD, though, have managed to stall their way to 2 items. It's going to be the Leandry second from coming in from Haichao, which in this game, if you're playing around killing the first target, I actually don't mind too much. There isn't a huge amount of magic resist on the other side either, besides some Merc Treads. It's not like you're facing up against the Chaotic Rookurns. So, kind of the Leandry's 2-item spike here is still quite high value. You don't need the early pen from something. I mean, it's really kind of worst case scenario if you have to go towards the Crypto Boom, the second item. The Haichao, he's kind of looking to hit the first side. Does mean less threat onto the backline. My favorite Ahri build right now is the Lich Bane, even very early into the game, where you can kind of go towards. In this game, you could be looking to kind of dive onto the Taliyah or the Kai'Sa. Kind of hard to in this game, though, when you don't have a dive buddy either, really. We'll have to see. It is all about that first kill in the front line, and Baron is started. LGD trying to crawl their way through the vision line.
Meteor will be here, of course, as Rel, their ability to get over the wall and steal Baron very high.
It's going behind them.
Behind the flank now in. 3,000 HP on the Baron. This is going to get very dicey. Back in respawning, Meteor goes in, lost vision, is now in the pit themselves. Big engage onto Birdle is immediately popped, but that means Kai'Sa's not in the fight on the other side. Finally turns up, PP got being attacked by Haichao, but on the other side, Xiaofang just gets reset after reset. Welcome to the bounce house. Viego will be your master of ceremonies, and OMG come away from that fight hopping mad. 11 kills to 4, Baron to their name, and the flank goes wrong.
And there's 1 kill only traded back for LGD. They're going to lose that Baron. They're going to not even be in position to really force any of these waves into the other side of the map. If you at least take a somewhat slim to winning fight against the Baron, you can stop the team that claims it from getting, you know, good wave setup immediately. That's not going to be the case. Now, OMG, after this fight, are going to get such a huge macro advantage. Birdle heads over to the other side, but he just shows himself too early. He doesn't have flash at the start of this play, and he goes straight in towards, say, Nautilus ult range. He just walks up too close. Birdle, for a player which I've praised an awful lot on stuff like his Aatrox play, this Twisted Fate has been shut down early and been awful in these team fights. And OMG, we've already talked about how dangerous it is to let the Kai'Sa and the Viego get that first kill. They smash the fight.
Immediately, the depth charge lands, Kai'Sa goes in, the seismic shove is point and click at that point. There is nothing for Bergol to do, and he's immediately eviscerated. That buys a third item for Kai'Sa. You've got a Medjai's with 8 stacks.
An Avid Reader.
For the Talia, there you go, that's the name of the took me a second there. And this is getting increasingly difficult. Yes, you've got the second item finally on Xiaoyu, but you are now down that additional break point. Going to be so hard to manage, especially with the Baron shove coming on through. The amount of gold that OMG are about to own, already up about 8,000 gold, is going to be monumental.
And Xiaofeng on the Viego, which is his most played and most successful champion of the split, is showing why I think that, you know, you threw 6 bot lane bans out here. I think against OMG, you must ban Viego. Yeah, this team knows how to play the reset combo too well. He's about to go to 8-2 in this split on this champion, despite being a rookie jungler himself. We talked about Xiaoyu on the other side and the experience differential between him and Abel. Xiaofeng is the rookie kid on the block in this jungle matchup against Meteor, who's been around the block a couple of times in LPL. But this Viego has made him look so comfortable, and now he's built up the tenacity from you know, both Moktres and the Sterix, and then also has the Force of Nature. He is going to be unstoppable from reaching those resets. He can be so tanky and survive through to them.
Has to be on a third item dream and try not to lose too much. Haichao did go split for a tier 1, but it came at the cost of the inhibitor, kind of feeling they wouldn't really be able to defend it anyway. Everyone's here in force, trying to clear out the waves. Infernal Dragon has spawned. Haichao looking for maybe something, but it's an opportunistic charm at best. And OMG, just keep the pressure up. At some point, they can just back away and head towards that dragon and get soul point on top of everything else they've just claimed for their war chest.
And you can see that Abel just keeps pinging out those W's over and over. The AP Kai'Sa, very powerful at this point in the game. If a hook lands, if a W lands, LGD are not feeling very happy about it. So OMG, they're not going straight back towards the dragon immediately. They just say, okay, let's see if we can get ourselves an opportunistic pick. They don't find it right now, and now I think they'll take their time to go back to the objective on the bot side of the map.
Exactly, and now to the red buff we go. That was the start of the earlier Baron shenanigans to assess that setup into the Baron start. OMG really broke this game open with. They were in the lead, of course, before that, but now it feels like it would take some serious missteps for OMG to lose the game. And I say missteps from OMG because I don't think LGD have that much in the way of proactive moves they can make that are going to be super effective at this point in the game.
That's the thing. You can make proactive moves with the TF and the Ahri, but are they effective? No, they're not going to be on Cube. You can't kill Cube. I think that, you know, Haichao is going for tank killing build. He's building up to a Void Staff as a third item, so he's going to have Leandra's Void Staff, which is really good at killing frontline, just not when you're this far behind in the game. And Birdle sat at 0-3. I think, on the whole, Birdle has been LGD's best player this split. But there have been games like this too, where he's away from stuff like the Aatrox, away from stuff like the Cassante and the Poppy, where he has felt a little bit more down to earth. And this is one of those games, OMG very much putting the pressure topside and shutting down LGD's topside carry.
The problem as well at this point is you kill one person, that's fantastic, but you've still got to deal with the fact that Viego, Talia, and Kai'Sa, there we go, the other one, are all very fed. You've got to get multiple people down, or at least running the opposite direction. It all goes wrong.
So OMG, they walk away after they've taken that dragon. You can see that the ultimates are coming through.
Meteor, that's fantastic. They've got reshoved, but it's onto Cube and Abel, who do manage to get away for now. The gold card lands. Abel down to about 20% of his speed. Gwen down is down. Good pick. Now they're trying to run away. Haichao lands the charm. Big pick on Xiaofeng, who's trying to run away. Cannot get far enough. Is into that unraveled earth. PP God on the other side, trying to buy some space. Meteor needs to back away. PP God and Xiaofeng still low, and this is the problem. They can't do enough damage to keep people from running away. They finally kill off Cube. Now Angel in a spot of bother does not have the flash, and Xiao has to battle dance forward to keep the range in. The rapid fire cannon not quite there. An LGD of Meteor finding himself in a bush that's not checked do get something.
Even with Angel putting the wall across the fight to stop LGD from getting a perfect entrance to it, LGD punished the overshove. A lot of it, actually both of their one fights in this game, have come through big feather pullbacks from this Xayah, who has still got themselves a decent amount of work done in this game. You've now got the Ahri at 3 items. Beyond this point, feels like the damage core is online. But look at how this comes through, right? You think you've separated the team, but you've gone everyone into Xiaoyu. Abel goes way too deep into the massive combo from everything. The gold card into the grand entrance from the Rakan afterwards seals the deal at that point. And LGD now at this point can maybe start playing around their 3-item spikes and their carries. We can see if they can summon lightning twice to hit the same spot.
You said it would have to take some missteps from OMG. That was one of them. Meteor gets to the bush that's unexpected, and credit to him, that's a great position. Meteor not had a particularly great game on the rel, but that was an important engage, and maybe, just maybe, that's the turning point. Still feels obviously like OMG are the ones very much favoured to win the game. Soul point up a healthy amount of gold. Scaling certainly no problem for them, but still.
Because, I mean, the win condition, well, the win condition for LGD is quite slim. You need to have a great feather pullback and Haichao using the Leandri's burn very effectively. I don't think Birdall's going to put that much into it. But can you do that when you're going forwards? You've done that when you're going backwards. Baron started. This is going to be harder to recreate that.
Meteor has not got flash, but does have an ability to get into the pit regardless with Hex Flash and the crash down to 5,000. They do not have the Destiny Gate quite yet, but they've got double control wards. Hook goes wide, Haichao on the flank.
See that they're trying to burn down this Baron. It's a bit of a danger with the Xayah QE across the wall as well. If it goes later than this, Meteor could just W into the pit and steal.
But it's a Q on rel means you do have the advantage.
EQ,
execute damage is huge.
Yeah, particularly as the EQ gives you that percentage HP damage against camps. Rel is one of the best objectives stealers in the game, so OMG do not want this to stick around that 3,000 HP margin, maybe even 2,500. We'll see how low it gets. Birdall walking forward, fire cannon, gold card locked in, but not able to find a target, and the game slows down. Wall to start off separating LGD, but it doesn't solve their issue. They can't keep them away from the pit. It's a bit of a swing and a miss from Angel.
A minute or so until the Infernal Dragon. That one felt a little bit awkward from OMG. I'm not sure they had quite the right answers this time around, and now LGD feeling that they might have a moment to get something. My days, Cube does get the reset. That could have been dodgy, especially if he'd been caught at half HP. Instead, he does get to reset. Baron Vision Control secured by LGD. They're going to try and turn this around, knowing that Cube's not quite back until the teleport comes on through. The fight begins. Meteor pulling back alongside the feathers. PP God low, not dying. Haichao trying to get onto Xiaofeng, who would be a critical pickup. The seismic shove goes wide as Birdall looks for the gold card, lands it onto the Nautilus, and they do get a pick. Junjo on the other side, though, is very low. But LG do come away with a victory there, just about.
To an extent, they kill PP God, but you've still got the dual ultimates which can start the fight in the Heartbreaker, and then of course the Killer Instinct as well from the Kai'Sa. You throw both of them at a target after that point, and LGD without ultimates to themselves would be in very much a large amount of trouble. So what this means is that Dragon is spawning in the next 10 seconds. LGD, they get a kill, which helps, but I don't think it gives them full presence on the bot side of the map. This would be Infernal Soul for OMG.
PP God respawns now, but they are just Destiny gating down here. They want to rush this fast, of course, actually with the TF build as it is. Your ability to just auto-attack a Dragon is pretty good. That means OMG have decided we're not going to fight for this, we're going to turn straight to Baron instead.
Okay, so they're giving up that Dragon. I'm a little bit surprised at that, but maybe just looking at the fact that Haichao would have his ultimate back and you don't have the Nautilus to lock down the Ahri, maybe that chooses their decision for them. But LGD are going to be here to respond to Baron again. They haven't burned this down quick enough.
Meteor is here. Again, the ability to get into the pit from this side is very high. Is in. Can look to steal. 2,000 HP. Look for the steal. Stolen. Meteor makes it happen. Comes crashing down. The Magnet Storm afterwards will only delay his death briefly. The resets begin to come on through. Trying to continue running as Haichao has got the ultimate Angel coming on over in Birdall, and Haichao in very difficult position. The charm lands, but nowhere enough to keep them safe. Flashing over the wall. I feel like that might just be a mistake. There's nowhere to go. Ahri just dies here as the seismic shove comes on through. Just give up the death. And they get one back. Make that two, of course. Meteor falls, but they get the Baron, and LGD hold on.
They get the Baron, but LGD, you could see that they managed to just about survive on the retreat. You still have Abel's ultimate available to follow through. It could have been so much worse for LGD. Nonetheless, OMG claim themselves that Baron. They get to reset and look for potentially a game-ending push. Angel walks away with a 14-stack Medjai's. Very happy with that themselves. Felt like this was going to be, well, rather, of course, LGD, they get themselves the Baron, so it's the steal there, completely missing the fact out of this. So, LGD get themselves that Baron, completely changed the equation. When you're against Rel, you're always worried about this steal. Doesn't even need the EQ combo coming through here. God, what a messy fight at the end of this. And OMG, they don't manage to clean up all the plays that they really want to here. LGD walk out onto the map, and it really does feel like they can maybe stabilize with this.
They've got a bit of time to buy space, buy time. They've got, actually, because of the shutdown that happened topside earlier, the Junjo picked up onto Abel, bought himself an early redemption as well, so the utility is actually pretty high. You've got the Abyssal Mask in as well. 3.5 items down for the Ahri. You've got Hex Drink, that's the name of the item. Took me a second there to remember, on Chariot as well. Actually getting increasingly hard to kill the key targets, and we did say that in draft. Like, look, easy execution, yes, but the target selection, tricky for OMG.
And now Xiaofeng is at a point where he doesn't really do that much damage because he's gone towards a tanky build for the VAB. He wants to survive through to the reset, and he will, and he has high base damages. from the Heartbreaker in terms of the execute damage, but you're going to need other people to do the legwork for you. So OMG, it is all on Abel and Angel. See if they can be the dual carry combination to cut down targets and get resets going. LGD on the other side feels like now that this Twisted Fate is into late game, despite the fact that there were 3 early deaths, can be a big factor. They're grouping up with the last of that Baron buff as well. They're going to claim themselves the mid lane outer turret, and they will finally, at 33 minutes, break the entirety of the ring of outer turrets from OMG.
Credit as well actually to Cube when he was chasing down the likes of Birdol and Hijax. He did get hit with the gold card, but of course the empowered version of the Blazing Stampede does actually give you crowd control immunity. It's quite useful there, of course. A little bit like the Orm W. Manages to break their way through.
Oh, PP God.
That's a lock its shield. You got worried there for a second. I certainly did. Xiaoye takes a threaded volley to the face, but there's a redemption, so the heal comes right back on through, and that damage is largely mitigated.
And the game slows down again. OMG, they had a big lead. They couldn't accelerate it to the level that they wanted to. A little bit out of character for them. They've typically been very, very good when they have that gold lead, but they've played into Xiaoye's a little too much. For me, I think he's been the real difference maker for LGD in the key moments, and it's allowed LGD to reach this point where they can maybe look for a knockout blow. Damage core is online for pretty much everyone in the game, and it means that OMG are no longer playing against carries which don't have the tank killing potential. They don't have the ability to, you know, turn things around onto even the Viego and the Udyr towards the top side. OMG, they're still ahead in gold. They're still in sole point. Don't get me wrong, they're in a good position, but this is not necessarily as easy to close as it was.
Reminder when we came into the series, both of these teams a little bit able to flip a game one way or another. Largely, the OMG has been weighted in their favour, whereas LGD's felt a little bit weighted against them. This time around, though, it's led to a very tense late-game scenario, nearly a death cap for Aru, sold off the Dark Seal. It's understandable the Medjay at this point, perhaps not as valuable as a death cap might be. On the other side, the Lord Doms, fully completed, pickaxe and inventory. Xiaoye online, ready to murder whoever steps into the feather traps.
That is, those feathers feels like they are the key thing to play around. Xiaoye has flash, has ult. Can OMG force any of them without losing a fight immediately afterwards? PP God, you got to be so careful, man. This is difficult terrain.
Oh, the seismic shove! It's over forcing from Xunzhao, who thinks they've got a pick and it's all a bait in the end. Now with the 4v5 advantage, LGD in danger as the Weaver's Wall comes to corral them. The Magnastorm back is good, though! It leaves a lot of space for Xiaoye, and that means a dead Talia. Medjay stacks down, but the damage afterwards is still fantastic! Looking to get something by Xiaoye, just can't do enough. I know OMG find it.
Birdol's clearing the wave. He's gone behind them. The wave is already dead in front of them. Birdol realizes if he leaves this alive, it could be the end of the game. With Xiaoye down, heads up thinking, the carries that survive from LGD go and clear the minion wave, so while they'll give up the Infernal Soul, they don't give up the game. OMG not quite able to break open LGD just quite yet.
An Infernal Soul might be enough to keep OMG in the driver's seat here. That got mighty close. Xunzhao will be kicking himself. Just a little bit too easy to read.
And we thought that PP God was the one that overstepped, goes into the gold card. Xunzhao goes forward, but immediately exploded. Gets a little bit of CC onto him, despite the fact that he has heal and flash. He can't get himself out of trouble. And this is one of the big issues after this point. Look how Xiaoye can't really get the clean fight, which he wants to after this point. Has to ult through a combo, but it means that he has to ult a little short of where he wants to. PP God gets the follow-up hook, and despite the fact that Xiaoye has had a very clean game in teamfighting so far, can't quite replicate it here in the late game.
Oh, another auto or two, and that might have been different. It looked pretty good. See, even with all that damage done, 5,000 on damage. On the other side, though, Abel is really online.
He has a death cap now, too. So if you thought this wasn't bad enough, it is going to get worse. Watch for these APWs as well. Huge amounts of damage coming through from them. Where is he? He's just come up to the plate. This will be one. With the Void Staff, if he hits another W onto the same target, it's going to be nasty, but Cube's caught.
Oh, and this Udyr's just not tanky anymore. Down and dead to right. Big pick-off. The frontline largely gone. Baron's up.
And despite the fact that it's against an Infernal Soul as well, LGD, they don't end up facing a poke battle. They get one kill. Charm lands, but it's not going to land to that much. And now Baron getting low.
Xunzhao's gone again. Just cannot survive this Rakan. Cannot play Warden the way he wants to. Baron stolen! Xiaofeng gets in. It's been one apiece now. Into the backline. Xiaoye is desperately trying to survive. Goes up into the air. The redemption comes down. Buys space, buys time. But just not enough. The body is stolen. And now Xayah begins to turn on her allies. And OMG, come on in a 4v5 and just break the backs of LGD.
Oh, it's a bit of an Order 66. The allied Xayah's soul goes over and everything goes with it. OMG, it takes them a while to close the game. LGD, they tried to play some smoke and mirrors, but at the end of the day, they only blinded themselves. OMG walking away with a game 1 victory.
It was always going to be a narrow win condition from where the game ended up, but credit to LGD for making it a close affair in the late game. In the end, it will not matter. Junjao respawns, but this Rakan just will not have anything to say about delaying the end of the game. OMG win game 1, but it was a torrid time of it.
I really think Meteor and Junjao had a hard time in terms of just the composition that they had to face into. They were the first targets that was getting picked off. Did feel like in late game though, Junjao, despite all of his experience and the years which he's played, didn't really end up choosing the right plays. Sometimes with age comes wisdom. I think with that one it just comes a little bit of foolhardiness. As feels like really right there. OMG, they just about got away with that. Felt like they ended up kind of snatching defeat from the draws of victory and then kind of reversing it beyond that point. Thanks everyone for tuning in, by the way. LGD, of course, will now have to see if they can fight back. If LGD lose a series here, they're likely out of playoffs.
Yeah.
So, despite the fact that we talked about just before this, they've faced all of the top teams already. Their back end of the split is much easier than their first half. This is not a game that they really can afford to lose. So OMG picking this up here, it puts them against the wall.
It is a difficult position for sure, and of course, you still feel a little bit nervous about this one because OMG have shown the propensity even in this game to maybe not quite do all of their due diligence, get a little bit overeager, not quite check some of the bushes they should have done, and it feels like it's the spaces between the set plays. Like, actually, clearing the vision around the red zone, good, but now actually maybe 2 steps later when it's shoving down top side with Baron, oh damn, we didn't check out that bush in which Meteor was still sitting.
Thanks everyone for viewing as well. We're gonna be chilling for a little bit now until the second game comes on. So, important to note